MrDodo8449 here, and as if you've watched my previous video, you'll know I hit 250 subscribers. I've actually been waiting for this one for a little while. What I'm doing for this video, I've had this since about 175 subscribers, and I've been waiting an absolute age, it seems, to get this done, because I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm pretty sure you guys will like it as well. So, hopefully some people have looked at the hint I left on that video and worked out what it is. It's a set. Don't worry, it's empty box. It's a set. As you can see, it's the Coming Home set by Hornby, and the people who actually went and did a little bit of look at it, that hint I left you was R1060, sorry, 1060, and yeah, hopefully you'll find out what it is. So it's quite a special set, this one. It is 60th anniversary of the end of World War II. Hence the, Winston Churchill in there. There's maps of France. I think it's France. Yeah, maps of France and a map of London on the other side. Obviously, there's a newspaper in there and so on. So it's quite a nice set, this is. Now, little quick history behind the set itself. I went to a trade show, which is not the sort of one where you go to, to buy stuff. As a public, it's where you go as a company and you go to buy sort of like 600 of one thing, that sort of trade show. And one guy was basically selling toys and stuff like that, and on display he had two Hornby sets. Now, one was I believe it was the Flying Scotsman, and the other one was the Coming Home set. Now, I had a choice between the two of them, and I brought this little one. Now, to be honest, there is problems with it. One of the buffer stops is missing. There's only one of them in the kit, and there was a little bit of damage to the second buffer stop, and one curve had got bent somehow. So it was a brand new set. There was obviously a used demo or something like that. So because of that, I literally got this for about 40% of the price. I think this set new was about £160. It was 2005, so sort of very early DCC, so it's still quite an expensive set. There isn't any DCC on this, but it was that sort of time. And I honestly brought this set for about about £70, so about 50% off. Amazing bargain. The loco inside of it is unbelievable when you see it. So then, the box is open. Now, first thing you'll notice, the loco's not in it, neither is the controller, nor any of the straights. There is a reason for that. Basically, unlike people like Intercity and EWS, who get a loco out, run it all in, check it out, and then put it back in the box and do a review, I haven't bothered putting it back in the box. The main reason for that is I didn't want to break anything. When I had a look at the loco, I decided not to put it back in. But anyway, we'll just go over what we can see. So obviously the track went in here. You've got second radius curves there, a left and a right hand point, and 7 straights, small straights, and 1 power straight, which was obviously on there. Now, I've used all the straights on my current layout, so good way of saving money. I'm also using those second radius curves, but I've only used 4 of them so far. So as well as that, we have the controller, which is obviously on the layout. We have the power adapter, and in the middle we have the detailing and the buffers and things like that. Now, the detailing for the loco is on there. There is 1 vacuum pipe for the front of the loco. The one's already on the rear. Brake lines or brake rods, whatever you want to call them, for the tender is also on there, which need to be fitted at some point. We've got the realistic front bogie. Now, the reason it's got 2 bogies, this set, is because the realistic front bogie will not go round second radius curves. But because the set was obviously given with second radius curves, and because people's layouts have second radius curves, they fitted it with the non-realistic bogie, and I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, but I believe the wheel spacing is slightly different, or the size of the wheels is slightly different. But I will probably be leaving it with the unrealistic front bogie, unless I'm able to get 4th and 3rd radius curves the whole way around the express line. I probably will, so I have to think about that. But anyway, moving on, there's the gump. I believe that's what it's called. If it's not, then please go to Intercity 82 and complain to him. That's where I got it from. So I believe it's right. I can't find anywhere else saying it's wrong. In there we've got the original track mat with the 3 outer lines. We've also got detailing on how to detail, how to maintain the loco, oiling and running in and things like that. So I think it's now time to have a little review of the loco and her coaches. So before I carry on with the review of the, stuff in the set, I thought I was going to do a comparison first of all between the two front bogies. Obviously I've removed this one from the loco, this was one which was already on it, and this is the unrealistic bogie. And you can hopefully see the difference between them in that shot. The spacing is exactly the same, as you can see there, but the difference is the size of the front wheels. Now, I'm actually going to put the realistic one with the larger front wheels onto it, as the track it's going to be running on, it does not have any second radius curves in it, it's only third and fourth, so it'll be alright for me to use that. So I'm going to put this one back onto it, which is swapping it, and this one here I'm going to put back in the bag and stick back in the box so I don't lose it. But yeah, you can see that the main difference is that this piece here can clear the top of the wheels, as you can, well, it's out of focus because of the background, but as you can see it can clear the top of the wheels. Whereas this one here, if I do exactly the same thing, doesn't clear the top of the wheels, so it hasn't got as much movement to turn, hence why they had to add a smaller set of wheels to it. Well, I've taken everything out of the box, as you saw previously, and we're going to have a look at first of all, at the 3 coaches, which are LMS composites, with a LMS brake, and they're really nice coaches actually. But we'll get to that in a minute, and then we'll move on to the loco after that. So the coaches. Well, we'll start off with these 2, which are exactly the same as their composite coaches. But as you can see, they're very nice. Very nice coaches. I mean, price range wise, I'd put these at somewhere. Well, if these were the Hornby range, you've basically got the railroad and the premium. I'd put this bang in the middle. So yeah, there's a nice bit of detail on it, but it could do with a bit of improvement in some areas. The first area is that they're actually quite light. There is weight there, but there's not really enough. So I might be adding weights to some of these coaches, depending on how well they run. I think they're going to run okay though. But anyway, yeah, really nice weathering. The whole set's been weathered, which is quite nice. It's obviously just a single colour that's weathered up to the top. It's quite top and clean at the roof sort of height. Down here it's nice and grubby around it, and it looks really good on the when it has a train with the loco. So detailing underneath will start. There's nothing really special here. It's all moulded detail, but it looks really nice. Excuse me. It looks really nice, the moulded detail here. There's no weathering on the underside, but obviously as it's upside down, I'm not really going to bother with that. So moving on to the bogies on either end. These are really, really nice bogies. There's great detail in here, all the brakes, all the suspension parts. There's loads of rivets and stuff in there, all these little bits of detail running across the bottom that really are nice. Yeah, nice buffers there. The same both ends on those bogies, and again they're weathered. Now it has got the larger tension lock coupling, which is a shame, but as it's from 2005, it's acceptable and fine. I haven't had really any problem with these. They just don't look quite as realistic as you'd want, and to change this, it means changing the entire bogie because they're not separate, which would just become difficult. So as they are a train, there's 3 of them. I'm hopefully going to be getting 1 more of these composites. I don't really see any problem with changing them because the loco's got exactly the same coupling. So yeah, we'll move around to the end. Yeah, nice bit of detail there. Some steps going up. Just a bit of detail on the roof there. There's not much there. It's all moulded in. The other side is exactly the same. We'll have a bit more of a look at the livery here, and it's light might help. It's in the nice LMS maroon with yellow pinstriping and white pinstriping at the roof. It's got a grey silver roof. Now I'm not sure if the roof colour is meant to be grey or meant to be silver, so if somebody knows what the LMS composite coaches were like in real life, then leave a comment below, and I'd just like to know that. But anyway, yeah, this is actually a corridor coach, and give me a second. you can just about look through the windows, and this side facing the camera has got the corridor in it, and the other side has got seating in it. There are no seats in it, but there are the the outline shape of seats, which is quite nice. But obviously the weathering means you can't look straight through and see it anyway. So I'm going to be trying to find one more of these coaches, and hopefully I'll be able to find a weathered version that will be the same, so I won't have to try and match them all. But anyway, yeah, this side is exactly the same again. Buffers are really nice. Underneath, I've shown you that already, and the roof is just normal detail and so on. So there's two of these coaches, exactly the same, 1 and 2, as you can see there. I mean, exactly the same again. There's really nice livery on there. The LMS is nice and crisp and clear. Unfortunately, my camera decided not to focus on that moment. It's got the emblem right in the middle, as you sort of expect with these coaches, and it's number 4256. On that coach, the other one that I showed you first of all is 4263, and the brake coach is number 5526. Again, this is the brake one, so that half of the coach forward is seating, and then that half backwards is your brake and luggage area. Yeah, so it's a nice coach. I'm not going to bother with the underside and the bogies. They are exactly the same on all of them. Same goes for the front and back. The only difference obviously is the side, different window spacing and so on. Now, this is a nice coach, but I have got one coach that has come from a premium range from Hornby, and I'm going to show you the difference between them. I'll just take a minute or so with that. Now, the basic difference is the moulding and the weight. Here it is in my hand now. Now, it's a GWR. It's from the GWR B set coach, is what they call it. And it's really nice. Now, this one here is you're meant to come in a set of 2. Now I've got to try and find the other one. I'm still trying to find one. But the main difference between this is the premium. I call this a premium range. Now, there's not quite as much detail on the middle under sections. You can see there's very little moulded underneath. But the bogies are just as nice. But the main difference is weight and the moulding they use. These handles that they have on each of the doors look like they were stuck on afterwards, but they were from the first mould. The glazing inside all the windows is really nice, and there's little details like this door, for instance, is set back into the coach. Little things like that, and same, all the windows are set back into the coach. It's just really nice detail on this one here, and I call this one here the premium coach, and this one there the middle range coach. And the way, well, they run. This one here obviously runs better because it's very slightly. It's not slightly. It's 50% heavier, I'd say, than the LMS one. So yeah, basically, if you have the money available, I'd go for the premium coach. They seem to run a lot better. And I mean, the coaches you can see in the background are the equivalent of this, but about 6 years older. So they don't weigh anything at all, and I am going to have to put weights into those coaches because they keep derailing on places that they shouldn't derail. For instance, one of those bogies decides to go straight over every point, which gets irritating as well. So I'm going to have to take off the rear wheels, I'm going to have to gauge them again properly, and then I'm going to add weights to it. But yeah, that's just a nice coach there, and it's the same sort of style as this. So that's enough about coaches. So I think it's now time to move on to the loco herself. So the tender, good place to start. Now, this one here is obviously an LMS streamlined tender. I'm not sure what the name of that particular tender is, but it's a very plain livery on that. There's just got the BR black that the City of Lancaster was painted at a later date. So the livery is quite nice. It still says LMS on the side, which is actually, it's a really nice stencil, whatever they use to stick it on. It's really nice, crisp, good colours there. The camera won't pick it up, but it's actually like a red 3D effect on the LMS letters. Now, a couple of things to say about this. First of all, it's ridiculously heavy for a tender. There's weights or something on the inside there, but it's really nice. In fact, it's probably the weight of class 03. There it is. it's almost the same weight as that loco. Yeah, this one is slightly heavier, but they're almost the same weight. It's really heavy, that tender, which makes it brilliant for traction and running, especially as this tender has electrical pickups on all three axles, so it's got great ability to pick up current. So yeah, that's the first good things. Now, unfortunately, the bogie, the undercarriage, whatever you want to call it on this, is a little bit disappointing. This is about the only one bad thing I can find in the whole loco and train combination, the coaches and stuff, is that undercarriage. It seems to be lacking some detail in between the wheels. The actual wheels, they've got the suspension blocks in there, you've got your brake pipes next to it, you've got your suspension leaf springs above it, and then between it there's nothing, and I would have expected there to be something there. I mean, even if they just remove those two sections there and created like an arch shape, that would have looked good, but it just seems to let it down that one area. So yeah, very little rivets and stuff on that, but saying that, the detail that is there is quite good. So we'll forget about that, we'll now move on. The side, as I said, great deal from there. There's obviously nice access panels and so on. Move around to the front, absolutely brilliant detail here. The handrails, the handles have been stuck on afterwards. The moulding they used was really nice, gave some sort of great, there's a nice coal step there, there's a door to get to your coal, obviously great connection. The other nice thing about this is that this sits very close to the back of the loco, so it creates quite a realistic look as it runs. You've obviously got two handrails on either side. These have obviously been stuck on really nicely afterwards. They've been weathered and they look great as well. So that's really nice. This side is the same as the other side. At the rear we've got sprung buffers, both of these here. Again, this has got really nice detail. A ladder stuck on afterwards. Brake vacuum pipes in there as well. They're really nice. Now this one here has actually got the medium tension lock couplings, whereas the coaches have got the large tension lock coupling. So that's quite a nice thing to have. This is the size coupling I want on all of my locos. Either that or obviously a NEM pocket with a flexible NEM coupling. Those are the two which I'm trying to get, as I think they'll work best around the whole layout. Again, there's a really nice detail. You won't be able to read this, but I'll just read it because my camera won't pick it up. The top one says LMS number 6243, and the one underneath just says British Whale. Does it say British Whale? No, it says British something 4000. I can't read the second one. So those two stencils at the back there. Top one says LMS, bottom one says British something 4000. But yeah, really nice detail there. Although they're small, they are crisp. Nice bit of detail. So yeah, that's a tender. The top is got this. It's 2005. Remember this. So it's got non-removable coal. I think it would look quite good if you maybe put some coal dust over the top of that. I think you would improve it like that. So in YouTube, put the tender with its three coaches. That means there's only one thing missing, and that's the loco. Now, before I swing around and show you her, there's something else I want to show you. I've worked on it for 2 days now, and I've managed to fix all the little bits and bobs, and it works really well. So, right, now, it might look very odd to you, and hopefully most of you have already realised it's Lego, but there's one thing which I wanted to try and do, and that is to move locos while I'm doing videos. Now, the reason I want to do that is because the only way I can get accurate detail on my camera, close-up shots I mean, is to move the camera about 6 foot away and then zoom right in. I don't know why, it just works like that. Which gives me a problem, because I'm behind the camera, and if everything's 6 foot away from me, I'm unable to get to it. So, if I'm able to do this, appreciate it's very noisy, but I mean, if I'm able to just swing a loco around like so, and move it to different positions, then I'll be able to talk from behind the camera, zoom in on detail, and not have to keep turning the camera on and off to move locos around. So, great idea, I thought. So anyway, I'll now bring on the loco, and we can have a good look at her. Okay, so before I move away, I just want to say to everybody that before putting this loco on this support, I've tested it with both weights, Then I moved on to a smaller, lighter loco, and then I've moved on to obviously the nice big one. Now the only thing I found is obviously has to be in the middle, so the middle wheel actually lines right up with the middle drive axle, very easily balanced, which means there's obviously a little bit movement from all the fact it's Lego. So other than that, it's absolutely fine. So I'm now going to move the camera back, I'm going to get her spinning, and then we can do a nice little review of her. Right then, so first time I've done this, hopefully it will work. But anyway, yeah, so she's a really nice loco. Like the rest of the train, she's been weathered, the same sort of weathering. Now the wheels and all the drive gear and everything has got quite a bit more weathering, and as you sort of get up to the streamlining, the loco looks a bit cleaner towards the surface, which is what you want as it's as it would be a loco. You know, it's the prize thing on the train. You try and keep it nice and clean, and I think they've really done quite good with the weathering on this. Now, as you can see, she's got really nice drive gear, yeah, well, when I spin it around a bit more, you'll have a good look at that. So she is a really nice loco. Is this going to turn the right way or the wrong way? It's going to turn the wrong way. Alright, now I know. So as I spin around, now I've put the realistic bogie on the front. There we go. So as you can see what I mean by the drive gear there, it really is nice. Just the mechanism that works. I mean, GWR kept theirs very simple, and there's none of this sort of extra movement stuff on the outside of their locos. They kept it generally inside the loco. So it's really nice, and when she runs, which I've got to apologise about, I haven't got a complete circuit, so I'm only going to be able to run her forward and backwards over 4 foot of track, which is a bit disappointing. But when I get the moment I get a complete circuit, this train will be up running, and I promise you that. So that's something to look forward to a later date. But anyway, great mechanism when she runs. It really is nice and smooth, and this loco is unbelievably smooth. It's a DC loco. But she must have a very good motor inside of her. I'm not sure which style it is, and very good gearing, because she runs, honestly, when I run it, you'll see what I mean, but she runs at no power at all, and she's so smooth, and it's all down to the drive, the motor, and just the way she's built. Obviously this is a premium loco that came in the set, so that was really nice, and she really is a premium. I mean, on her own, with her tender, you'd probably you'd probably expect to pay 120, 125, that sort of price range, and she really is worth every penny of it. So then, coming around, now you've obviously got the streamlined body that you can see, that handrail running along the top, just below the shadow even, really nice. That's also been weathered, which looks really, really good. Now then, I can zoom in a bit, hopefully. It worked a second ago, there you go. You can see the nice little emblem there, LMS. Oh, let's hold the camera steady. There we go. Yeah, nice little LMS loco there. It's also got her running number in there, so it says LMS. Underneath it says 6243, which is obviously her running number, which you'll see in a second. City of Lancaster, that's brilliantly stuck on, that is. It's obviously just it's a nameplate that's been added afterwards, and it looks really nice. So moving around to the back, again, that rear bogie, I believe that's what you call a bogie. I might be wrong, someone wants to correct me, whatever you call them. That's got great detail on it, although it's just sort of a travelling bogie, it doesn't really take any wear or anything, it really has got nice detail on it. And you obviously got your steam release pipes or vacuum pipes, or I'm not quite sure where they are, the pipes underneath the cab. So there's the number you can see, 6243 at 7p. Now, I believe P stands for passenger. I don't know what 7 stands for. I might be wrong there. So yeah, actually, if somebody does know what 7p does, I know there's sort of 4F and things like that. I believe F is freight and P is passenger. I think the 7 might be the weight it can take or something like that. But anyway, yeah, if someone wants to correct me on that, then it'd be helpful to know. Okay, so I just swung around to the back. Hang on. There we go. If I turn on the light, you can now see all the cab detail in there. Really nice cab detail, actually. As you can see, it's all moulded in there, but it's really nice moulded in there. If you really want to, I suppose you could add paint and colour to that, but you'd have to be unbelievably careful. It's such fine detail in there, which looks really nice. Now, there's also 2 handrails that you can just see on the right and left hand side of the cab, like the rails that run along the front of the steam box and water and whatever, all that sort of area around the front of the side of the loco. It's been weathered to look the same, so it gives it the same age, which is really nice. Now the other thing which hopefully you might have picked up is the drawbar at the bottom of the at the bottom just underneath the cab. It's actually got electrical pickups on that. As I mentioned, the tender has also got electrical pickups in all three of its axles, so that's how it gets it through there. The other nice thing is, because of the way that drawbar is designed, it can swing at both the tender end and at the loco end of the drawbar, so it's able to go around really tight bends and keep the tender very close to the back of the loco, which makes it look really realistic and really good. Now the other thing you can just about pick up at the top of the screen is some gold pieces. I'm going to have to move the camera to look at the top of the roof, but basically it's the it's the whistles and the safety valves there, and they've all been sort of embedded into the bodywork to create the streamlined effect. It looks really good. So we'll swing around to the other side, and I'll keep going around to the front. That's where we want to be next. So the other side is exactly the same. I mean, look at that angle there. You can see all that drive gear again. It is really, really nice when it goes. I mean, that loco is really heavy as well, which helps with traction. I mean, she'd probably pull an 8-coach or a 9-coach train really easily. She'd pull it, which is really nice to know. But she will eventually be pulling 4 coaches when I get that far. So swing around now. She's got the realistic front bogie on her. You saw it previously in the video. I did actually swap them over, so she's got the realistic front bogie, which will be good. So I'll stop her there, and you can see all the little bits of detail. Now she has got sprung buffers, the same as the rear buffers on the tender, and again the same sort of weathering is done on the buffers to create like a used look to them, which looks really nice. There's just little bits of detail, like all those steps you see running up the front of the logo. They've all been stuck on individually. There's that little ladder right at the bottom, again that's been stuck on. There's vacuum pipe, which I haven't stuck on yet, but there is a vacuum pipe to go on the front, right in between the bottom rung of the steps. You can see a tiny square hole. That's where it will fit in, and then it will sort of run up the side. Next to it there's a chain link and all the connection stuff, so just for, well, realism really, it looks really nice. Lots of little bits of detail have been added on as well. The other thing to mention is the chimney. You can see at the top there. Again, that's been streamlined, and it does. I've looked at the A Princess Coronation loco on the internet, and she really does look just like it. I've been unable to find a photo of the city of Lancaster, but this loco that I saw was pretty close. So yeah, it's a really nice loco there. And I mean, it is a superb loco. The weathering on it is really nice, great weight to it, and hopefully the detail you can see, she is a premium loco. I mean, there's no fault I can find with this one. I'm being honest there, there's absolutely no fault I can find with her at all, which is really nice. So I'm just going to swing her back very slightly, there we go, just to get a whole loco in shot. She is really, really nice, that loco. I hate to say it, but she's the nicest loco I've ever touched, held, picked up, used, moved. It's the nicest loco I've ever seen, in fact, which is a bit, you know, a bit against me being a GWR sort of guy. But that is one reason why I wanted to model the Somerset and Dorset railways, because they had links with GWR, LMS, Southern Rail, and they built their own locos as well. So I thought that was a brilliant, good combination. I could have loads of locos to run, which is really nice. And she, now this loco would have never actually run on the Somerset and Dorset line, but the technology in her would have run on the line, being their LMS, and they were quite closely linked. Engineers were quite closely linked. So yeah. Now, as I mentioned, she came in a nice set, and I'm going to zoom out slightly. There she is, there's the box she came in. Swing around slightly. As you can see, it's a great, really nice little set. Get the lighthouse shot. There we go. So then, yeah, I think it's now time to put her back on the track. Then when she's back on the track, I'll do a quick overview of the top and the roof of the loco so you can see the detail that's on top, and then I will move back round and try and get you some nice shots of her running. Right then, so yeah, if you just one thing to say, if you compare the shot you just saw with the shot now, you can see that the camera is not picking up the detail as well as I want it to, which is why I have to sit 6 foot away. But anyway, as you can see, the pipes I was going on about, right at the top, they've been embedded into the, there we go, they've been embedded into the bodywork exactly like they would in real life, and they really nice detail there. It has got a roof, well, a roof light, I'm not quite sure what it's called. It doesn't open, but at least it's there detail wise. She really is nice. So yeah, not a massive amount more to say about her. I think the next thing to do is to let her run. So before we just do that, very quickly, if you can just inform me of what you thought of the way I did this review, I'd like to know what you guys think. I prefer it doing this way. I prefer it a lot doing this way because I'm able to show you all the detail nice and close up, which I think really improves it all. But yeah, so now we're going to move on to her running, and hopefully you'll be able to see how smooth she is and how nicely the mechanism works. Right, apologies it's not very long, but I hope you can just about see that mechanism. That is, okay, so the controller starts at, well, people say 9 o'clock. At 9:30 she moves, okay? That is 9:30, okay? And that is what I mean by impressively slow. In fact, I'm going to have to show you what the controller speed is. Sorry, I'm doing this completely blind. Okay, that is the controller speed, okay? And I'm not joking, look, I can push it back to 9. She was running at that. Now, I don't care what you say, what you want to say, this is a DC loco, and she runs at that, okay? How slow will she go? It's a little bit jumpy at that, but I mean, I don't know, there must be 2 volts going to the track, maybe less than that, and she still runs. I will admit, she is on a perfectly one single piece of track, there's no joins in that track. There you go, she's just died. There you go, a bit more power and she picks up again. She runs over, and I mean, over points, she goes over streamline points, doesn't even think they're there, just wanders straight over them. Now, I will say, well, I'll try and explain quickly why. It's quite obvious really, but this loco, as I said, she's got pickups on 1, 2, 3 wheels in the tender. She's also got pickups on 1, 2, 3 wheels at the front. Now, if you look at that, on most, where's she gone? There she is. On most little diesel or steam engines, you have 1, 2, 3 wheels in the middle that do all the picking up. If I drag this one out, oh no, if I drag it out as one piece, there we go. 1, 2, 3 wheels in the middle that do all the driving. The other thing you'll notice, those wheels are quite small, which means that this here has got a complete space of 1.5 inches. Now, if you go over streamline points and you've got slightly dirty wheels, as soon as the wheel that's picking up most of the power hits the plastic frog bit, then it stops. It just dies. But with this loco, I'll move her out of the way. With this loco, the span between there and there is longer than, it's about the same size as a long Pico streamline point, which means you can have this wheel on the front wheel on the point, on the frog bit, but the rear wheel is still on the straight piece of track you've just come from. Do you see what I mean? There is such a large area for it to pick up power that even if one wheel loses power, then there is another 5 axles to pick up the current, which means it can just drive really slowly. And as well as that, it's smooth. It's not like she's jerky. It is really smooth, and I mean, such little power is needed. The other thing is she's been geared down very slightly, whereas the loco you can see in the background, which is the that's a railroad range model, tongue twister. Now she hasn't been geared down. It's a drive straight to a cog, straight to a worm gear, straight to a cog, straight to the axle, which means that when she runs, she can't run very slowly. I mean, in fact, she's not even going to run at all now. Oh, she must be. This is what I mean. This loco here is not on a dead piece of track, but it's on a dead connection. There you go. As you can see, that's about the same. That's 10 o'clock. I can't go any. That's the same, and she's jerky. She's not even moving now. So that's what I mean. But the gearing on this one here means it's got a slightly lower top speed. But saying that, you should never really be running your locos past about 1 o'clock on your controller. I'm not sure quite what that speed is on a DC system. But you don't really want to go past 1 o'clock. Anything faster than that, you're starting to get unrealistic speeds. The other thing is, locos can derail around corners if they go too fast. So yeah, really nice loco, beautifully geared, nice motor. She is obviously brand new, so there is no dirt or dust on the wheels or anything, but she's absolutely superb model. I'll make you in closer. Hopefully you can see her mechanism working now. Nice and slowly. And you can see how that mechanism is working beautifully. There's obviously a lot more stuff to oil, but that's kind of expected with this sort of model. Bring it back one more time. There we go. So then YouTube, that is it for this little 250 subscriber special review. To sum up, basically, it's absolutely superb loco. It's a really, really nice loco. The coaches that go with it, matching set, really nice. I want to get one more of those. I want this to be a 4-coach set. I mean, she'll happily pull 8, 9 coaches, I would have thought. But yeah, it's just a really nice loco to have. Now, just to say, it was the coming home set by Hornby, if anyone's interested. If you do ever see one, I'd recommend getting it. I really would recommend getting it. By far the nicest loco and coach. Well, not the nicest coach I've seen. Obviously showed that GWR one, but then definitely the nicest loco I have. So hopefully I'll get some GWR locos to rival that one at some point. But yeah, I've got a couple of plans. There's a few Southern Rail locos I want as well. There's one more GWR one that I'm currently trying to buy it. So hopefully I'll have another review out soon. But anyway, yeah, once again, thanks for subscribing, for liking it, for comments, for talking, whatever you do to me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for making it making my channel grow to the next stage now. Hopefully then it's going to start growing, and I should be doing another special quite soon. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any comments about the review, then leave them below. And once again, thanks.